Steve Phobos was kind of a dick, but he decided to be an adventurer, and as he and his friend Koak Hoburn came back to the ruined part of the beautiful city that was called Silvermoon, he decided he's gonna go and cash in his quest that he got some time ago. Even though this guy told him to stage his business, Steve decided, you know what, I have learned the ways of the humans around here. I'm gonna use it for good. Even though he wasn't quite sure what good was. But this guy was called Adon Sunburned. Exactly, that's what Steve remembered. It was called Adon Sunburned. He gave him a quest. He told him, you know what, Steve? You're such a promising warrior. Go ahead and murder a dwarf that came here with just the greatest stuff in his mind. But probably he wasn't, you know, didn't have the greatest of the intentions. He was probably just a weirdo. But Steve did not wait for a second. He went to talk with Prospector Anvil Ward, who said, very well. Let's see what you have to show me, Steve Phobos. I have heard that you're kind of a dick, but you know what? I'm not afraid of that. I trust Horde completely. Now, I will show you something new around here, and you will see it's a great thing. I'm gonna show you with my patchy eye. There's no trickery around here, Mr. Anvil Ward, said Steve, while he was smashing his head in. Steve decided that he kinda liked the way of the world that way. He was kinda going away from being a stylist, a hairstylist, when he used his hands for good, for enjoyment of other people. And he kinda decided he likes to smash things with his axe. And just destroy people's lives, hopes and dreams, and not just injure them, but murder them as well. But he decided, you know what? Everything I do it for you. Is what he said to the Adon Sunburned, who told him to go to speak to another ranger, the whole other part of the world. And Steve decided, you know what? Maybe, just maybe, there is someone who can fly me there. So he went to talk with Skymaster Skiles, who said, you know what? I can show you the ways of the flying. And Steve was kinda happy. This was the first time Steve ever sat on this weird thingy that flies in the sky. We decided to call him something. I don't know. Steve wasn't quite sure what he would call this place, thing, animal. So as he was riding this animal, Steve thought to himself, wouldn't it be a great thing if I could tame one of these creatures and learn how to fly myself? So Steve promised to himself that once he's gonna be old enough, grown up enough, he's gonna know everything that is to know about this world, and he's gonna tame a majestic creature like that. He's gonna learn how to fly it. That's what Steve promised himself. But until then, he just said, you know what, Koak, get your ass over here. And then there was something weird about us. For Steve saw another Koak. It was the same Koak. But this Koak was driving another bike. It was the same bike, but there was not the same passenger. It was a weird passenger that Steve didn't quite like. So Steve decided he's gonna go onwards to glory and find another Koak. And that's the point when Steve decided there's nothing to trust in this world, and that he should not ever use the word decided again, because it's just weird. So he decided he's not gonna say decide anymore, but he's gonna listen more to what people tell him when they say they're gonna have justice. He wasn't quite sure what they were talking about, but Steve said, I'm gonna find out all about this world. I'm gonna find out why these weird people want justice, what they want justice for, and I'm definitely not gonna fly back to Silvermoon, for that would be just redonkulous. I like Silvermoon, Steve said, even though he'd never been to the proper part of the city. He knew he would like it, because there were some great stylish saloons over there. For hair, of course, styling, indeed. But he said, I'm not gonna go back there. I've been there just some moments ago. I'm gonna take my duplicate Koak, and we're gonna go around. I'm gonna talk to Ranger, who wants to have some salamis. And that's the point. Steve saw this weird goblin, who for some reason decided it would be a great idea to come to the place of the Blood Elves, even though that was a horrible place if anyone wanted to level in. And Steve decided he was slowly starting to hate it, but he should wait until he's 10 years old, or, as the people said around here, be level 10, is what Koak told him, even though that might not have been his Koak. And this was the first time when Steve found out about the undead. The plague that has been, I don't know, plaguing his people. Steve was at loss at words when he said plague and plaguing, so he decided it would be better to say plague than plague, as some other people might say, even though those people Steve thought are kind of weird. So he went around and killed many of the undead that were scourge upon this land. And for some reason they were called scourge as well. Steve found a shade of anger. He decided he needs to murder. And then he decided that he shouldn't say decided anymore, but that he should go and kill dark wraiths, as the ranger something told him he should do. He found many broken things around here. He wasn't quite sure he likes the broken things. He liked breaking things, but he didn't like to see other people break things, because there was no one around to repair them. So that's the way, that's the time, that's the point. Steve learned about the profession, a noble profession called healing. And for some time after that, Steve thought about becoming a healer. But other people told him that you're not a great healer if you're using an axe to smash a head of an undead. Although Steve heard that paladins did just the same thing, but they were infused by holy light. And Steve, for some time again, thought about becoming a paladin, getting infused by holy light. He even tried to meditating once, but Koak woke him up after he fell asleep. So he decided the ways of a warrior were simple and easy, and that's what he should do. So as he went around, he found a lady in distress, and he decided, you know what, if I'm something, I'm a rescuer of ladies in distress. And this lady in distress told me, hey, you rescued me, good shit. Now go and get some poop soil for me. Steve didn't quite like that. He thought that lady in distress should just at least give him gold, if not a kiss. At least that's what happened in all the stories he heard from his grandfather. But this lady in distress wasn't quite so thankful. She just wanted some poop soil. He thought Steve, maybe, just maybe, she had little kittens living in her house, and she needed some poop soil so the kittens could poop in, so they wouldn't poop all over her place, because that Steve thought would make her mad. Even he wasn't quite sure if that was the case, but that seemed to be the likely reason for this weird lady to be running around in an undead infested land trying to find some soil, or maybe trying to find a white knight that would go and pick up some poop soil for her. Steve wasn't quite sure this would be the best of the poop soils as well, because it smelled like death and rot, so he wasn't quite sure if those kittens would like it. But on the other hand, he wasn't quite sure that this lady had kittens anyway. He felt victorious though. After murdering everything and after meeting more Koaks, he thought about a day when he will get his own driver's license and he will not need Koak anymore to drive around. The lady became doing some weird ritual with purple stuff on the ground. And Steve promised that he's gonna protect her. He's gonna protect Lady as the weird enemies approach. He has seen them in the distance. They weren't approaching, so he decided, you know what? I'm a hero. I'm a zero from hero. I'm gonna go, I'm gonna protect this lady by killing everything around me. He thought that's what warriors did. That's what white knights did. The lady seems happy. She seemed happy that Steve did such a thing. And then they lived happily ever after. And Koak decided to move in.